This is the weekend edition of Fear and Greed Daily Business News for people who make their own decisions. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, our weekend show is all about the two of us each nominating what we think is the biggest business story of the week, the most remarkable business story, a sleeper story, which is the one I always struggle with. It is the one that's kind of flying under the radar a little bit. And then our favourite business-ish story. It's a competition, a fierce competition, so we need a judge to pick a winner each week. That judge is our Fear and Greed colleague, Adam Lang. Adam, good morning.
Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Sean.
Morning, Judge Adam. Morning.
Adam, can you very, very briefly just tell us what you are theoretically looking for today?
My notional criteria: topicality, timeliness, stories with big economic impact is what we want. I'd love it if you play up to some subjective bias of mine, and please, if you can, a little melodrama.
Right.
Well, I mean, listeners, forget everything Adam's just said because irrelevant in terms of judging.
Did you like how he finished giving those, and just Sean and I just there was
like
just silence
tumbleweeds
there for a minute going,
Whatever.
Do these matter? Yeah. Do they matter? Look, I'm going to go first because today is all about brevity. What a massive week for the economy. Whew. As brevity is key today, though, gentlemen, in 3 sentences only, allow me to summarize the biggest week of the year for the Australian economy.
I certainly hope something happened.
Number 1, the Reserve Bank of Australia left interest rates on hold, but opened the door.
Well, off we go. Hello, let's have a party.
Opened the door, Sean.
Yes.
To maybe considering rate cuts in the future. There we go.
A few caveats in that one.
Yeah. That's number 1. Sentence number 2. Then came the most staggering set of unemployment figures imaginable. The Melbourne Cup doesn't stop the nation. These jobless figures did. You know why? Because it fell to 3.9%.
To 3.9?
The lowest since March, Sean.
Crazy.
Everybody stop.
But this is the thing. Everyone was expecting it to be inching higher. And no, it's just going, no, you know what, guys? I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going the other way. 3.9%.
I'm going to inch lower.
Yeah.
A little shimmy.
The disrespect today. So that's sentence number 2. I mean, there's obviously been a few little extra sentences scattered throughout. Sentence number 3, if I may just wrap it all up in one final sentence, ignore everything else I've just said, they don't count in my sentences. The ones I did. You know, I've made a rod for my own back here by announcing that I'll do it in 3 sentences, but we all know I can't. We started the week, this is context, right? We started the week with a lot more hope. We were given hope. We were gifted this idea that interest rate cuts are on their way. And we finished this week with those hopes being dashed because the labour market, Australia's extraordinary labour market, is just too darn strong.
So your biggest story is unemployment fell? Is that the bottom line?
It was the fact that this was the biggest week of the year for the economy.
Yeah.
And we had kind of Reserve Bank board meeting. We had the opening of the door to interest rate cuts. And then, bang, that door being slammed shut again by jobs.
Okay. I get that Adam always goes for the economic story, right? It's just this predisposition. So I wasn't even going to try, except for the fact there are 3 of the biggest pieces of policy that's going to affect families, that's going to affect the economy, that's going to affect our whole energy renewal thingamajig for decades to come. These are the 3 policies, or 3 of the policies, that the election next year is going to be fought over.
Did you say three policies or three separate stories? Did you say you're combining into one?
Leave it alone, Michael. Three things, three big issues. This week, the Prime Minister said the activity test for childcare payments would be removed, something that the opposition doesn't want to happen. He also announced a $1 billion early education fund. The government's also considering a scheme where families pay a flat fee of $10 or $20 a day for childcare. The thing about childcare, it's not about the parents, whether they can afford it. It's actually about the children getting access to it. That seems to be missed in this whole debate. If you can have kids ages of 3, 4 accessing early education, their developmental health is far, far greater and their futures are far, far brighter. And you know, my partner, Jackie, is very heavily involved in this one, so you have to take my word on this one. It is such an important thing that kids get access to education before they get to school. One, big issue between the two parties. The second one, the coalition came out yesterday with its nuclear power costings. Its modelers, Frontier Economics, reckons it'll cost $263 billion less than Labor's renewable rollout between now and 2050. We had the Labor Party coming out and saying, well, there is some pretty heroic assumptions in all that. Under this coalition's model, which involves 7 nuclear power plants, renewable energy would still be the dominant source of power by 2050, responsible for 54% of generation. Nuclear power would be about 38%, rest batteries and gas. The government's policy, about 94% by 2050, will be renewables. That's big story for the next generation. The third big policy debate this week, which is probably not quite as controversial. Michael, stay with me.
Oh, you're losing me, Sean.
Yeah. Well, this one is for you. The Albanese government.
I love politics, but oh gosh, this is a long story, Sean.
The Albanese government's planning to force social media companies to pay for journalism on their sites. Under these laws, the ATO would impose an annual charge on social media and search companies worth more than the value of the payments they would make to the news publishers. So basically, if you don't pay the news publishers the content, the ATO is going to hit you with a really big tax bill. This ain't a slap on the wrist. This is a punch in the face. Huge story, that one. So between childcare,
good line,
childcare, nuclear/renewables, and the future of journalism, big week. Over to you, Adam.
Okay. Sean, you had me at childcare. You had me at early education. Well played. And actually, in composite, the 3 stories by each of you, Sean, you won that one by daylight. Well played. Good opening.
Michael, dummy spit. Come on. I normally do the dummy spit at this point.
No, you
dummy
know what?
spit.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The points are irrelevant. I mean, I won that in spirit.
I think not in spirit, Michael, but you won in sequence. You did go first.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sequence.
You know, it doesn't just no one cares. Let's move on. Most remarkable story. I think you should go first on this one, so you can have the spiritual victory of sequence.
We are at the end of the year. I've just gone for the story I loved this week, which is totally remarkable. It's the big money flowing into sports teams. This week we heard that private equity companies are buying the US NFL teams for the first time. Basically, the owners of the NFL teams got together and said, we're going to allow rule changes which will allow private equity and groups like that to buy in. Now, some of these teams in the US, the Chicago Bears, have been owned by the same family since 1920. Like, it's phenomenal how tightly it's been held. And NFL teams are more expensive, generate more revenue than EPL teams, La Liga, any other sport, bigger than baseball, bigger than basketball.
Massive. Basically,
Ares Management's bought 10% of Miami Dolphins franchise. It cost them about $800 million. They'll also get a stake in the Miami Stadium, also the Formula One Miami GP. Now, Ares is already in a bunch of European football teams. It owns a McLaren F1 racing team. Then we had Arctos, another PE group. It's acquired a minority stake in Buffalo Bills. It's already got its finger in baseball teams. Well, it hasn't got its finger in baseball teams. It's got an interest in baseball teams. LA Dodgers, San Francisco Giants, also basketball's Utah Jazz, PSG. NFL, right, has the most valuable sports team in the world. Anyone want to guess what it is? Adam, you guess what it is.
NFL.
Yeah,
okay.
as in football.
Rams?
Wow. That was dreadful.
Really?
That was one of the worst guesses ever. Think cheerleaders.
Dallas?
Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Cheerleaders.
Okay.
Yes. The fastest growing sport, Adam. Guess what the fastest growing sport in terms of revenue is?
Oh, my God. Basketball?
No, F1.
Oh.
And that's because it has gone from 1 race to 3 races to 4 races in the US. So that Netflix documentary has introduced
General
it.
Motors getting in.
General Motors getting
Incredible.
in. The US league, like NFL, baseball, basketball in the US are the big ones. The only kind of leagues to give them a run is the English Premier League, which is worth way less. La Liga, which is Spanish, then F1 and Bundesliga. Anyway, the biggest team, the Dallas, number 1. Yankees, baseball, number 2. Real Madrid is the biggest of the football clubs, number 11. Man United, number 13. Anyway, all this investing into it, it's just remarkable. Is this the category we're in? Remarkable?
Yes.
Yeah. It's remarkable how
That's what it is.
The money going into sport. Michael.
That's a good story. It's an interesting story. Is it remarkable? I will tell you what's remarkable, Sean.
Mm-hmm. Tell
The
us.
most remarkable story, and Adam, with one eye on your criteria, the one that has the potential, the story that has, I would say, the potential to have an outsized impact, right? Not just on.
Hold on, isn't that Sleeper?
No. Wait.
Oh, sorry,
on the
sorry.
planet,
Sorry.
and arguably much of the whole universe, right, is the remarkable growth in the wealth and power of Elon Musk.
Oh, don't bring Elon Musk.
I'm going to
into it.
bring Elon Musk into this because this week has been.
And if you mention Donald Trump, you're banned.
I've got bad news for you, Sean. So this week, and this is why this is this week's story, right? Tesla's share price surged in just one day, for instance. In one day alone, it jumped 6% to be valued at $1.3 trillion US dollars. It has doubled in value since August, which is staggering. We're only in December. That's since August. That is amazing. Now, investors are obviously excited about Elon Musk's relationship with
the incoming president. Leave it
there
at
we
that.
go.
Excellent.
Donald Trump. There we go. I said it. So
why'd
now
you
I'm
say
out.
it?
I know you're going to kick me out. And obviously then the hopes that Tesla will benefit from the new administration. Now, when you combine that, right, with the massive valuation of SpaceX, which was also this week, gosh, a lot happening this week, quite remarkable, really. Elon Musk is now worth around 400 billion
100.
US dollars. First person ever to pass that figure. That is staggering. That wealth has skyrocketed in the last week alone. SpaceX skyrocketed. Yeah, well done. That in itself.
Congratulating yourself.
Well, someone has to. None of you guys ever give me props for it. That wealth, though, like it's a little bit, like it is staggering. It is a little bit kind of grotesque. Like it is. Yeah, it really is, isn't it? But when you combine it, right, with his growing influence as well, obviously money buys power, but he's also got then the political power because he's got the ear of the incoming president, who I shall not name for you, Sean. His role as co-head of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, and the ownership of this is also important, the X social media platform, a massive platform, and he controls the whole thing. So what I would suspect now is that Elon Musk is the single most influential person on the planet, headlined this week, obviously, by the enormously remarkably staggering.
Yeah.
Someone's staggering here. I'm staggering over the finish line. Increase in his wealth. Phenomenal wealth. Phenomenal influence. Remarkable story.
Can I just add to your remarkable story? We talked about this during the week. So what's Tesla worth? 1.3 trillion. Next biggest car company, Toyota, worth 280 billion. Ford and General Motors closer to 50, 60 billion. Just phenomenal how big Tesla is.
Yeah.
And the valuations of those companies are entirely different, meaning the profit multiples for Tesla is way different to any other car company.
God, you sound like a finance exec.
Geez, they're good. Sean, your story on sports and values, incredible. And also 2 stories in Australia this week. DAZN, D-A-Z-N,
Yeah.
DAZN, coming in and rumoured or mooted to be buying Foxtel for sports rights as a reflection of those valuations. And
I did
also
mention that.
the NRL has announced a new team for Papua New Guinea as part of what is anything from soft diplomacy with that nation to a greater expansion of the league.
$600 million.
So incredible, the value of sport as a business. What a great story. I actually think it's a dead heat on this. I was wondering how Sean couldn't win. And then Michael's like, oh, geez, they're all fantastic points. Tesla's share price charging ahead. You said surge. I'm going to throw charging in there.
Oh, good one.
And
Surge and
also
charging, yeah.
the crypto believer, right? Because he's a massive crypto believer and his holdings in cryptocurrency, including Dogecoin. But this could be the world's first trillionaire. You know, at 400 billion, but all of it remarkable. So dead heat.
All right. So it is 1.5 to half. Not quite the result I was hoping for at this point, but there's still time. We'll take a quick break and come back with the sleeper story of the week. All right, Sean, we're looking for a sleeper story. Now, a sleeper story is, of course, one where it's flying under the radar a bit or significantly, the fuse has been lit on it this week, and it is going to become a bigger story further down the track, which in many cases is what I aim for. It feels like I'm downplaying this already. Shall I go first?
Sure. Go for it.
Quick. I'm just going to do a quick one because, as I said, brevity is key. Banking in Australia. Adam, write this one down, eh?
Okay.
Could be in for a shake-up.
Oh, what does a bank do when it shakes up?
It just gets a little bit jiggly.
The whole building shakes up.
Yep.
Quakes.
And this might be, I don't know what happened to me just then.
Do you know what I love is the way that Michael presents a story. Often he goes, well, I'll go first because he thinks I've got to get in early. And then when the longer the build up to the facts, generally he's going for melodrama points.
No melodrama here. This is very straightforward story, this one. Year of renewal for the banks, right? 3 of the 4 big banks have experienced change at the very top. New CEOs. That is quite staggering, and I suspect I'm the only person to have noticed it as a sleeper story. Only Commonwealth, I can't even say that with a straight face. Only Commonwealth Bank remains with Matt Comyn. ANZ's just like now I'm kind of like I've got a few notes scribbled down in front of me, but I can't stop looking at the two of you because Sean's just like, I can't wait to see you stuff this up.
I'm intrigued. This is my intrigued face to see how this will be a sleeper story.
I told you it's because I'm the only one who noticed it. No, it's.
Oh, was that it?
No, it's not. It's not. ANZ's CEO Shane Elliott is the latest to go, and we were talking a lot about this week. Well, not a huge amount.
No, not much because it's a sleeper story.
We whispered about it.
Yeah,
he's retiring after a pretty successful 9 years. The thing is, his replacement is a little bit of a wild card. Really, we don't know much about him. He's not a local. He's a Portuguese banker. Yeah. Joins us from HSBC. He was kind of focusing on Europe and Mexico. A lot of people. But Australia's very different. He's an expert in business transitions. ANZ has 2 big ones underway. He's an expert in digital transformation. That to me sounds like transformation. Things might be going to change. Let me complete the image of a year of renewal for our big banks. In just the last week or two, 2 of the big 4, so that's 50%, right? of Australia's big four banks have announced new chief economists as well, NAB and Commonwealth Bank. That is a lot of change this year at our banks. 3 new CEOs, 2 new chief economists. One of the CEOs coming in from overseas, got a background in shaking things up. Our banks are usually, I would say, quite sleepy organisations. Very big, very stable, lot of change on the way.
Excellent.
Big sleeper story.
Yeah, big sleeper story. My sleeper story. My sleeper story is actually a serious one. So,
What the actual heck?
Just a quick whack.
No. Well, no, actually, I wasn't trying to be disparaging of you in that, Michael, because this is kind of like a social justice story, and I think it does matter. So, this kind of anti-wokeism has been running around, for quite a while, but there have been a couple of incidents over the past week from very different spheres that just demonstrate its impact. And if we want to know where we end up, if we allow anti-wokeism to take control, I think these are the examples of where we do end up. In the US, an anti-woke investment fund has been established by a company called Azoria Partners. It plans to not invest in S&P 500 companies that incorporate things like diversity, equity, and inclusion considerations into their hiring processes. Targeted Starbucks first up. It was launched at the incoming president's Mar-a-Lago resort, the home of anti-wokeness. That's the first one. Back in Australia, opposition leader Peter Dutton said if elected, he won't stand in front of the Australian and the Indigenous flags when giving a briefing. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese does that at the moment. Mr. Dutton's argument is that there should be one unifying flag for all Australians. He doubled down later in the week to suggest the Indigenous flag shouldn't fly above the Harbour Bridge. Investors and politicians feel emboldened by the rise of the incoming president to start eating away at many of the hard-won gains by minority groups, vilified groups, disadvantaged groups. Wokeism isn't about favouring those groups. It's actually ensuring they at least have a say. Now, anti-wokeism does the exact opposite. The flag, whether you like the flag or not, it has a Union Jack on it, to actually suggest that unifies the country is just plainly ridiculous. Like, it actually makes me angry. I'm not being pro or anti-flag. I'm just saying the facts speak for themselves. It doesn't unify. So don't actually use that as an example, Mr. Dutton, about unifying the country. It worries me that there are a lot of disadvantaged groups out there who are going to have a really tough time in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years because of the practical aspects of anti-wokeism. There you go. My serious story. Adam.
Very serious, very relevant. There is kind of this war on woke. I've actually always struggled with the term woke. I mean, I get it. The origins are that it means awakened, but awakened to what?
Yeah.
And whether you're for or against this awakening. And how Dutton has embraced that with the flag story. It's like, God, this is just it's a non-economic story. It's not going to help our country grow. It's not about productivity. It's kind of this distraction.
It's probably anti-productivity.
Well, totally. The banking changes, yes. The banks make up so much. What is it, Sean? The top 7 of our in the top 7 of our ASX 200 is the four banks.
Of the top,
yeah. And so huge economic impact, massive organisations, very important. And changing to Nuno Matos, who's got both wholesale and retail banking experience, like a real wildcard. And what's going to happen with the executive ranks as they shuffle at ANZ, like the people who went for the job internally that are not going to get it, and how he makes that cohesive. I think that is a big.
This bloke is big on change,
pro-reform. But I actually think Sean has to win this one. It is, after all, one bank of 4 in the country versus this whole theme. And I think this sleeper theme is pervasive everywhere. So, Sean, I have to give this to you.
Michael, I'm not even going to gloat about that because that was so clear cut. It's we can just move into our favourite story.
Don't give up, Michael.
Oh no, I never give up, and it just makes me
give up.
Great song, Peter Gabriel.
Fills me with rage. Go on, let's go.
Adam,
Yeah.
What's the word? Do you know? Well, I'm not actually going to ask you for the definitions, but do you know what the demure means?
Yes.
Do you know what solfege? Solfege? SOLFEGE.
I did not.
I did not. Vox?
Well, only as Vox Populi, but no, not really.
Me
in this
neither. Didn't know that one. Monticello?
No.
No. Sobriquet?
Yes.
I knew that one. Okay. They're the 5 most searched words on Google in Australia this year. Like you, I knew 2 of the 5. There's a whole world out there of social media, right, where I have a little exposure to. So we're having, words like demure as what it does show is that people don't know what demure means, because that's the top searched meaning of demure this year. In terms of how-tos, right? Well, Olympics, Tyson v. Paul, the fight, Euros, I get that. How to mew. I mean, WT, whatever. Like, how to mew. I mean, goodness gracious, what is going on in the world?
We've got curious minds.
Michael, do you know what a mew is?
Well, yeah, I look. I read about this in the Fear and Greed newsletter.
Oh,
that came
you were
out
one of
through
the
week.
searchers, Michael.
And I might have been a searcher after that.
Yeah, I
so,
searched it
I'm
afterwards
familiar
too. Yeah,
with
but not
mewing.
before.
No.
It's like this. I don't know. Whole world out there. You know what I think? Which is a good thing, is in the old days, pre-social media, the proprietors of newspapers and radio stations, and they determined what people got to hear and do and see. Now individuals determine it because they can access social media. And so it's kind of a big, broader world. So I think it's a good thing. But I was just fascinated this week. My favorite story was the Google, top how-tos, top definitions, all that stuff. Because I was just staggered about how far outside the zeitgeist I am. I just didn't know any of it. Michael.
That's a good story. It's a good story. I don't mean to finish on a downer, right, for my favorite story. It's like a reverse favorite. Because we all know that AI is coming for our jobs. Yeah? And we know that the tech giants are eating into everything. And without kind of making this sound bigger than it is, nothing and nobody is safe. Ever. But in the back of our minds, right, we've always known one thing, that if all else fails, if every other job has been taken by AI and by the digital revolution, you can always make some money giving your opinion in a focus group. That's
selling myself to medical research. I'm sure I can do that.
It's the universal backup. Everyone's always got that in the back of their mind.
That's such a university student thing. You know, when you're at uni?
I think I know where you're going on this.
Because your opinions matter, right? And opinions, subjectively held opinions, are a deeply human thing until they are not anymore. And that is what we saw this week. We saw one of the most extraordinary uses of technology that I would argue goes beyond what we thought it was previously capable of and would ever be capable of. really giving this everything.
Building it.
I'm going to get this win. Colgate-Palmolive, obviously, a huge company, has done something unprecedented. They have built digital twins, right, that are programmed to simulate real-life consumers. They are making us all redundant. They are trying to speed up. There's a business reason for this. They're trying to speed up the process of developing new products, bringing them to market, because all of these companies are under pressure, the cost of living crisis, all of those things. But, and this is the key here,
Double but.
These are fake consumers. These are digital people. And these digital twins,
with feelings.
Yes, indeed. And this is the thing, that they are providing subjective feedback on new products, on things like, as you said, Sean, toothpaste and soap and shampoo, things that they've never actually used, yet they are giving this feedback. Until now, I thought that was a uniquely human role. Apparently not. because computers, it seems, can do that too. So without being too melodramatic,
No.
may God have mercy on our souls. This is the end of all.
Not too much melodrama there. Well done.
I'm
Can
done.
I just, Adam, before you make a judgment on this, Michael was saying that AI is coming to get our jobs, right? So ChatGPT could be getting our jobs, that sort of thing. Can I ask both of you two, Adam and Michael, have either of you ever accessed AI to help with the weekend show? Michael, what about you?
I have not.
Adam.
Oh, I have. Absolutely, I have. When I've had to stand in for either one of you, oh my God, yes. Because it's like I so struggle to step into what you both do each week.
Now, don't be nice to us about it. A couple of weeks ago when Michael had come back from holidays and he was judging and you and I were up against each other, the show was fine. The next week, Michael and I was talking and Michael said, you know that Adam obviously used ChatGPT, because if you use ChatGPT, as well, Michael and I do in another business, there are phrases, they're actually like dashes, hyphens, like they're in a different setting and format. And so if you look at your notes, you can see that. And we've been laughing about you using ChatGPT for that show ever since, waiting for the moment to bring it up.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. So I've written mine first, checked it, and sometimes rewritten it, not always. But yeah, I definitely have used ChatGPT. But isn't that curious? There's a formatting like a tell if you've used it at all.
At the moment, it'll get better. And if you talk to ChatGPT and like literally have a conversation with it saying, hey, this sounds a bit formal, or hey, why don't you?
Yeah.
It gets better and better. But
so good.
It's not there yet. Anyway.
So good.
Judging, sorry.
Back to the stories. I think it is brilliant and a bit of a favourite spot of mine that we can actually use Google as we do, or any search engine, and get help on things immediately, like on your phone, wherever you are. And also then that we can capture the data on what everybody is looking at. I think that's really fascinating. In terms of Michael's slight use of melodrama in AI, but the digital twins by Colgate Palmolive was a really interesting story. So I've actually given this to Michael on this one.
I hope he won on melodrama.
Well, yeah, it helped.
Yeah,
it certainly helped.
I put a little bit into it.
Humankind.
Was there a significant margin between us for that one? Because I need it to be a really big margin.
Not really. No.
Well, I would like to officially lodge a protest on the grounds of that being BS. What were we in the end? 2.5 to 1.5.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the quick little points?
88, Michael, to 94 for Sean.
Landslide.
All right. Good judging. Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you.
And thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Michael.
Make sure you're following the podcast, and please join us online on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. I'm Michael Thompson. That was Fear and Greed. Have a great weekend.